Coming to you from our opulent and luxurious 4x8 refurbished room closet at the national headquarters in Indianapolis. With duct tape, studio lights, and a mic that you barely can hear, we hope to entertain and educate you. This is the Tango Alpha Lima podcast.
They call me crazy cause I'm facing all my giants. They try to scare me into thinking I can fight it. They tell me I should never even think of trying. But that's just me, I'm gonna live out in defiance.
Welcome to the Tango Alpha Lima experience. That was crazy. And this is my name is Jeff Daly of the Michigan Dailies, and I am here with my favorite current co-host, Ashley Marie Gorbuja Maldonado.
Favorite current co-host? Okay, you were kind of on a roll at some point where I was getting all these like terms of affection, like, oh, the wonderful, the fantastic, the amazing. Like, I need those. Okay.
Well, let's just say that you weren't my least favorite, so we are there.
All right, I'll allow it. Moving on. Good to see you, bud. Good to see you. Good to hear you.
Good to see you. Now, I don't know if you guys have noticed, Ashley and I are getting a small dose of what season 3 will bring.
Yes.
Mr. Seavey, our national judge advocate, is out doing national judge advocate things. So he is not being with us today with a scheduling conflict. So we'll be recording a couple of episodes without him. Do not fear, my friends, though. He will be back before the end of season 2. So you're going to want to tune in for all of that goodness. But for now, I see you're wearing a shirt. I'm wearing a shirt. You're fiddling with things. I think there's some context behind that. What's going on, Ashley?
Okay, so if you didn't catch some of the stories and all of the live interviews, the Tango Alpha Lima crew was in New York City for Veterans Day. So we got to, represent. It was amazing. We got to hang out with Department of New York, Department of New Jersey. We got to go to the Lieutenant B.R. Kim Lau Chinese Memorial Post 1291. So that's kind of like, that's some of the gear that they gave us. I mean, what an amazing group. Oh, just the New York Parade.
Wait, hold on. Let's not go through everything right away.
Backing up.
We're going to go back to this post thing. And they took us to an amazing, amazing dinner.
Oh, yes.
That was
much
awesome.
Food. Delicious.
And they told me that it was authentic Chinese. And it was Cantonese, so it's not spicy. But I'm like, are you sure this is authentic? I haven't seen any of this at Panda Express. I'm glad they laughed. But
oh my gosh. You didn't. We were sitting at separate tables. If I had been sitting at the same table, my hand would have been in the back of your head so quick. I'd be like, what are you doing? Unreal.
Hey, I'm just saying that's
I had a great time.
I had a great time too.
They just kept putting food in front of me. They were just like, here, try this. And I was like, yes, please.
I'm like, you know her.
You know me well, yes.
So after that, though, the reason why we were in town was to see the New York City Veterans Day Parade, which was fantastic. I'll give you one of my takeaways first. That was not the day to drown, because I'm pretty sure the entire Coast Guard was there. There were Coast Guard people everywhere. If you need a search and rescue, I hope you got supplies till tomorrow, because they're busy working this parade. It was awesome. What did you enjoy seeing at the parade?
So I enjoyed all of the just genuine camaraderie. So there were a lot of different groups that were there. There were like veterans from their college campuses that were present. You had all of the service branches. You had the Department of New York, as well as Department of New Jersey, American Legion. A lot of folks just there to support. And I think what was or at least what left me awestruck, is as you're walking the parade, you're looking down Fifth Avenue, or up Fifth Ave. I don't know, uptown, downtown, that just confuses me, but that's not this point. So I'm walking and I see the Empire State Building, and I'm just in the middle of Fifth Avenue, like waving, and there's just all these amazing people saying thank you for your service. And I was just flooded with emotions. I was definitely feeling a certain way. I felt so much pride in my own contributions to country, and now community as someone in a second service capacity. So it was profound. I've never seen anything like it. we met amazing people. We got to interview people. We got to interview folks that were part of our 9/11 series, which was great. To again meeting the folks at the Chinese Memorial Post 1291 to see their a place of establishment and all of the history on their walls. It left an imprint on me. Those are my thoughts.
They had so much history there, and also in the parade, I loved seeing the regular New Yorkers just out and about, and how enthusiastic they were for this parade, and the signs that they held up. I mean, some of those signs, and seeing that, I'm going to get his age wrong, 102 or 105, the World War II vet that was there, and everyone spoke to him and gave him the respect that, I mean, quite frankly, he's earned probably numerous times over. If the Marine Corps hadn't removed my tear ducts, it might have been an embarrassing moment. So let's be glad for that. Thank you, Eagle Globe and Anchor. So
Oh. No, I definitely should. At one point, right as we hit like the red carpet, and I was like looking, like panning from left to right, and then right towards the end when we did see the World War II veteran, there were a few moments, like there was a woman who was holding a photo of either her son or her husband who was likely killed in action. And that was really powerful. And I know that, Mark and I talked about that afterwards and like how moving that was. And I guess both Mark and I still have our tear ducts because we definitely had a bonding moment afterwards, just kind of expressing how we felt as service members and our continued contributions to the Legion and how everything just kind of comes full circle and why what we do is so important.
Right. And it's interesting. Well, Mark still has his tear ducts because he didn't see that woman, and he told me, I'm glad if he had saw her here, he would have had to exit because he would have been.
I think he did like a corner of the eye. I think he might have, but he definitely was like, I got to keep it together right now,
Yeah.
But he was very. I know he's not here, but he just was going. He was shaking hands. I have never seen that. I have never seen that side of CB. He was just in like full glory. He's just. It felt very politician almost. He was like shaking hands. I was blown away. I think he
did not kiss. He did not kiss babies, though, ladies.
He did not kiss babies, though.
But he had a spring in his step because somebody else was there in our entourage. Did he?
Oh, yes.
And who's that?
So my husband joined us. He was in full uniform. He was in his dress blues. He's looking pretty sharp. And
Army dress blues.
Army dress blues. Excuse me. Sorry, I have to make sure we can. Oh, I hate to cross over and try and compare the Marine dress uniform. Whew. But there were some shared bromance moments, and it was beautiful and very impactful. And if that's not enough to make your tear ducts work, Jeff Daly, I don't know what is, because those two adore each other. They really do. They had so much fun together.
I mean, watching them the way that they were and being in New York City, I just kept thinking of Sleepless in Seattle. I thought they were going to go to the top of the Empire State Building and promise to meet there and have everything get in their way. Great. And then they would just find each other.
They could have met at top of the rock at the Rockefeller Center, and they could have overlooked the entire landscape while the city lights, and they could have sang some Frank Sinatra. They could have done it all. They could have had it all.
They did do all that. Now, I just want to make sure that everyone knows in the show notes, you can find links to the parade where you're going to see a lot of these pictures. You can find a link to the Chinese Memorial Post 1291 and also the 9/11 Memorial. I only got to see the memorial. I didn't get to go in the museum because the slots were filled up and I had to catch a plane. So I couldn't get in early enough to then still comfortably make it to my flight. You didn't happen to go in the museum, did you?
So I have been to the 9/11 Memorial Museum a few years prior. It would have been like 2015, 2016 I went. It's a very emotional, like when you start, it's all the way through, like you're going to feel a certain way when you're done. You will feel exactly, or it's a very solemn. I don't know how to describe it. Like you have to go. Um, it's very impactful. I would
Well,
leave it at that. It's very moving. It's very emotional. Um, I think about the one piece that's there that all the time. There is a timepiece from, I believe it was recovered from Flight 93, and it shows the exact time that the plane went down. It's just frozen in time. It's just someone's like Rolodex gold watch, and I don't know why that was the one. That's like the one thing that like always brings me back to that memorial. The museum is like how impactful that moment was, and that impact is now everlasting, and it's captured on that Rolodex. And that was just something that I remember from, again, it was years before. It's been years since I've been there.
Ashley, you were so impacted. You made a whole new watch brand. You meant a
Rolodex?
Rolex. I'm sure you meant a Rolex. Yeah.
Rolex? What did you say, Rolodex?
You said Rolodex.
I do have a pretty
So I
big
didn't.
Rolodex.
I'm
Sorry.
not
Trying to be
gonna.
serious,
I'm not
y'all.
gonna.
I'm not good.
I'm not gonna follow that up with anything inappropriate. But I will say I didn't even make it inside the museum, and I had a pretty impactful moment out here in West Hollywood. A person who used to be in charge of the West Hollywood Convention and Visitors Bureau, who I knew pretty well. Then his brother was the pilot of American Airlines 77, and I found his name. Because when you go around the big thing, there's all the names everywhere, and because you could easily kind of find the flights, they group those together and give a little header. So I was able to find his name, and that made me pause for a minute. I never met him directly, but I knew how much it affected his brother, and so that was my second. Glad my tear ducts were removed in the Marine Corps, but it was amazing. You see people going there, obviously for the first time, and they're really searching around and taking pictures, but they're really respectful. And we are going to take a break because we're all getting a little choked up here. And I hope that if any of you have been to the memorial or the museum, if you have anything that you want to share, you can send those in to us, and maybe we'll have time to read them in a shout out or some rapid fires in a future episode. So we want this conversation to be with you, not at you. So let's go to break.
Are squirrels nesting in the backseat of your old car? Is the trade-in value less than the cost of towing it away? The American Legion Vehicle Donation Program is your solution. Tax-deductible auto donations not only get rid of that old clunker, they help American Legion programs and services. Learn more today by visiting legion.careasy.org or call 844-4LEGION. That's 844-453-4466.
Okay, Ashley, this is actually topic 2. This is all you.
All right. So this one's really interesting, and I had to do some research on this because I definitely don't have any sort of labor law background, but military.com did an interesting article really focused on Hartford, Connecticut, or the Connecticut National Guard. It's entitled Union Seeks Bargaining Rights for National Guard Members. So labor unions have filed a lawsuit seeking collective bargaining rights for Connecticut National Guard members on active duty ordered by the governor, saying that they should be entitled to organize the same way as civilian state employees. So there's a 1978 federal law that makes it a criminal felony for members of the armed forces, including the National Guard, to join or attempt to form a labor organization. But the statute only applies to service members when they are on active federal duty ordered U.S. military officials say, and this is, of course, according to the Veterans Legal Services Clinic at Yale Law School, again, way above my level. So basically, the folks that are representing the Connecticut State Employees Unions that filed this lawsuit against the U.S. Attorney General, U.S. Attorney General and the Department of Justice, etc. And basically, there hasn't been any comments. There was a decline comment, obviously, from Connecticut National Guard about the lawsuit's claims, and it's basically saying that the National Guard has no bearing on the court interpretation of the federal law. It's really interesting because, when we're on state active duty orders, like we're proud to have, as a former guardsman, when you're on state active duty orders, you're on that duty level, right? We're proud to help our home state and respond to natural disasters, public health crisis, other emergencies. So it's interesting that this has kind of come about because they're looking to have the same opportunity to join together as do civilian state employees alongside whom they work. So obviously National Guard, you're doing your weekend tour duty, you're doing your annual trainings throughout the summer. The National Guard format and training has changed, I would say, since about the 10-year span almost that I've been in and out now, it's changed. So I'm interested in what your thoughts are on this, Jeff, and then I'm going to come back around and talk about a little bit about the employment support of the Guard and Reserve, because I'm not sure how it all ties in with you, Sarah, but go ahead.
I don't. I think this lessens the operational readiness of the Guard. I don't think your status at the moment, whether you're under state jurisdiction or federal jurisdiction, can matter as long as you are potentially going to be under federal jurisdiction. And kind of what started this was they wanted to negotiate COVID policies. But if the COVID policy that they come up with is inferior or less strict than the federal one, they are not operationally ready to do their duty. And also the military in general, and I don't care what level you're at, is based upon a chain of command and following orders and doing what you're going to do. You're gonna have a union rep show up because you don't like something that's going on. I don't think that that's conducive to a functioning military culture. And I also think it's a huge waste of time. And I'll say why. Even if they win, I don't think that they will. Even if they win, all Congress has to do to overturn is make a law. So if they do win this, I think Congress will make a law vacating whatever misguided judgment comes out of a court. So A, I don't think it's conducive to a functioning military, and B, I think it's a waste of time because it probably won't win, and even if it does, I think Congress will fix it.
Yeah, you bring up, I'm glad you mentioned, so this all started with the bouts of the COVID-19 safety precautions. So even though the state's employees were working directly alongside and they were able to voice, COVID-19 testing, safety, shift concerns to other necessary precautions, I guess that wasn't happening, or, but again, you come back to you're a part of you're a part of the branch of the military, and you sign on, and I feel like there's some waiverable, this takes precedence when on duty versus. So I'm understanding it again. I don't have a law background. I'm pretty novice on this just based on what I've read, but my understanding while I was in the Guard is that, the Uniformed Services Employment and Reemployment Act, the USERRA, the federal law that establishes rights and responsibilities of uniformed service members and their civilian employers. So what this, and I'm interpreting this, if I am interpreting this correctly, is that they want to have the same benefits as state employees because they fall under the state jurisdiction if they were to be deployed by the governor for whatever which way. But USERRA is a federal law intended to ensure that persons who serve or have served in the Armed Forces, Reserve, National Guard, and other uniformed services are not in a disadvantage of their civilian careers for service, promptly reemployed if need be. They're not discriminated against in employment based on past, present, or future military service. And to your point, Jeff, they would Congress would just have to make an extension of this, because right now, the law for USERRA, and again, I might be incorrectly using this, but the law is intended to encourage non-career uniformed services of the United States so that they can also enjoy the protection of those services and then be staffed by qualified people, maintaining balance and needing both private and public employers. So I'm just interested in, I'd love to hear back from folks in our audience if they know more about this or if they have, opinion on this. But, a bunch of different things that the employer support of the Guard and Reserve do, but it sounds like the state wants to have the full and final authority to unionize, to say, hey, we don't like this. With the
I don't
state
think
guard,
that's true.
excuse me.
The state
No?
guard does. I don't think
The
the
state
state
guard.
government is I don't think has taken a position on this. But
Okay.
yeah, this is where I wish our partner was here.
I know this is perfect for him. I'm sure we're gonna.
We
You know
will
what?
we
He's
will
gonna
check.
be in our comment box. He's gonna be like, "Y'all should have said this. This is what I think about this." I can see it already.
Well, we will talk to him and we will see. We are going to move on now, though, to topic 3. The rising cost for troops' pay and benefits could hurt military readiness, experts warn. I'm not going to read all of this. I'm not going to read much of this. I'm going to try to paraphrase based on my excellent memory. So the story here is that while the part of the budget that pays for active duty personnel has shrunk, the part of the budget that pays for pensions, retired folks, has exploded. And what they're saying is it's causing a readiness situation because that money could be used for equipment and such. Interestingly, I read another article where they're talking about problems with retention. You want to know a way to really screw up retention is to talk about lowering their retirement if they were going to stay for a full career. Also in the article, they made it pretty clear that it's they think it's a couple of these people think it's a really big problem. They also don't think there's no political benefit for politicians to back cutting pay for either people serving or pensions. In fact, it's probably the opposite. And also, Congress has so many other things that are high profile that this could become a distraction, especially for those who have to seek, re-election. So I don't know if you have thoughts on this or not, but I'm hoping that you do. I hope you're feeling a certain way about all the things.
Feeling a certain way about certain things. Let me give you my standpoint, my perspective. Oh wait, I have a tech issue. Where's my husband? Those are all of my catchphrases. We're gonna do a word cloud and put it on a t-shirt. That's all I'm saying.
Where's my dog?
Where's my dog? Oh, there she is. Actually, she just popped up right under my desk. That's bizarre. Okay. Not actually that bizarre. But so my thoughts on this are, I was a little astonished. So as I was reading through this, they pointed out some significant statistics. So,
wow.
Oh, my dog has some things to say about this as well. So earlier in the fall, the CSIS released a report noting that a number of active duty troops fell by more than 64% from 1952 to 2016, but the total DoD personnel spending rose about 110% over the same period. So the average cost per active duty service member for the department's fiscal 2021 year was $136,000. So this takes into account things like basic pay, specialty bonuses, housing stipends, and medical benefits. So, this is multifaceted, and I don't know if there's just one particular answer. I think you've hit the nail on the head from a political standpoint that obviously, like, no one in their right mind is going to be like, oh yeah, let's cut the cost for the troops. Or I firsthand saw issues with retention during my time in service. And, there wasn't as much incentive for me as a guardsman. I couldn't move around. There wasn't mobility in career. I couldn't, climb up in promotion and do the things I wanted to. And I'm sure, active duty folks will take all those things into same consideration to include their families. And again, they have to, pay pink tax on all their extra clothes, things like that. If you're a woman in the service, for example, but there's childcare. There's so many things that I don't know. I'm just a little flabbergasted. I don't know. Like, if there's 2.4 million retirees receiving benefits compared to 1.3 million active duty troops getting them, again, the deferred price of the military spending has to be dealt with. And that's
what they say. I don't agree with
That's what they say. I mean, I don't have the answer for this. I think it's interesting, and I'd be interested to hear what some of our viewership thinks about it.
I mean, so here's the deal. We're all a little sensitive to these kinds of things because it seems like they ask service people to go do things that could end their life or drastically reduce their quality of life. And then the next time it comes around, they're a spreadsheet item looking to change an algorithm to decrease their fiscal quality of life. And that's offensive to me, especially the way that they talk about it here. And you know what else gets rid of readiness? Lack of good people. Because if you don't pay people, they're not going to want to be there. And you can have all the fancy equipment and stuff that you want. If you got a bunch of knuckleheads out there trying to use it, it's not going to do any good. Pay your people, get good people. And I'm going to calm down after we get back from this break.
There's nothing better than seeing a child's face light up at Christmas. This year, the American Legion is joining forces with the Marine Corps Reserve Toys for Tots program to make sure that winter supply shortages and price increases don't prevent happy smiles this holiday season. We're concentrating our efforts on areas where there are service gaps that the American Legion can fill. To find out how you can help, visit toysfortots.org/campaigns.
All right. And here's our rapid fire. And I'm going to introduce a new piece to this. It's called Guess Who's Back? First one is Fort Hood. Fort Hood soldier charged with murder of fellow soldier and mother of his child. This comes from Stars and Stripes. A Fort Hood soldier was indicted Wednesday on a charge of murder in the death of a fellow soldier who was the mother of his child. I'll skip down to this. In the days before the shooting, Martinez had filed a petition to establish paternity for the couple's child, according to Bell County court records. The case was closed. That case was closed on September 22nd, but an arraignment for the enhanced charge is scheduled for December 16th. Fort Hood.
Fort Hood, ladies and gentlemen.
Could this have happened anywhere else?
Gosh, it's a shame because you know there's good people there, and then just this stuff happens, and it just floods the media, and everyone's just like, it just kills me. This is terrible.
You know what the good people are doing? Every day they're filing to get transferred. I guarantee it. Place needs to be burnt. Place needs to be burned to the ground. Although it's too big and it has too many uses, and there's things that are only done there. It's probably never going to go away, but I can only wish. Let's go to Rapid Fire 2, second segment of Look Who's Back. This time, it's the Tiger King. Ashley, I talked to you about this a little bit yesterday. Did you see the trailer or the first episode?
I watched the trailer. I have. I'm gonna watch some of the episodes probably this week. I just can't.
There's only 5.
There's only 5. Okay. Yeah, I saw the trailer. I just can't. I don't even know. It's too much.
We need to put it out there though, in case people are new to the family. We'll call them alphas, in case there's some new alphas out there. We during the pandemic, like the rest of America, clung to this crazy show that probably would never have been a hit if it wasn't for the pandemic. And so that's why we're talking about it. It has nothing to do with the military. It's just craziness that got us through, and it's back. So we can't abandon them when they really helped us through. But we're gonna reserve comment on it until Ashley has seen some episodes. I will say that by the time this airs, it will have already been released. So get yourself to Netflix and get you some Tiger King action. All right, we ready for Rapid Fire 3? This is not a Guess Who's Back. This is from the National Commander. Actually, do you have that in front of you, Ashley?
I do.
Do you want to read his letter?
I can. So, dear American Legion family members and friends, the American Legion is conducting a survey to assess how the pandemic has affected the overall physical and mental well-being of veterans. You can take the survey in the link in our show notes. But a 2021 mental health survey open through November 28th will keep the identities of participants anonymous. A central objective is to research is to find effective ways to reduce and prevent veteran suicide. After the past 2 years of social isolation, financial insecurity, and loss of life, it is important now more than ever to understand what works in this constantly changing landscape. In 2019, 6,261 veterans were lost to suicide. Compare that sobering number with the 7,057 killed in post 9/11 war operations. However, for the first time in 20 years, we have seen a decrease in veteran suicide. Still, just one veteran lost to suicide is too many. And I'm calling on you to take the survey at our post showed link to encourage our fellow brothers and sisters in arms encouraging our fellow brothers and sisters in arms to participate. It takes less than 10 minutes to complete the survey, and all responses are confidential and no personal information is collected. The survey results will be instrumental in the American Legion's efforts to improve mental health treatment for veterans, reduce the suicide rate, and shape our policy and resolutions on important issues that matter to you. We must act now. No veteran left behind. Sincerely, Paul E. Dillard, National Commander.
Yep, I agree with him 100,000%. Take the survey, have everyone take the survey, pass the survey around, share the survey, say the word survey until it annoys people into taking the survey. Okay, so now we have a real quick shout outs of thankfulness. It's only you only have until the 28th. So get on top of it right now. So I'm gonna do my first little thankful shout out. I'm always thankful for my family and friends, but these last few years, I've made some really great relationships with veterans in my post and now really across the state and the country. I personally don't think we tout camaraderie and lifelong friendships as a benefit of the American Legion enough. The pittance of dues is such an affordable entree to a club of the world's finest human beings, and that truly is an amazing benefit to this organization. On the outside of the Legion portion, I am really thankful for what I think is the end, what I think is we're trending towards the end of this pandemic. And I'm thankful that I can go eat food that I haven't cooked. I'm thankful that I can go eat food with people's faces who aren't on my big screen TV, but in real life. I'm thankful for all the human interaction and opportunities that we have in this post-COVID world. Ashley, do you have any thanks?
I just want to say I love what you just said. I think that camaraderie is what allows us to gather at the Legion table. And our 4 pillars of the American Legion, those are really the things that strengthen us, that unify us. And that table, no matter where we are in the country, no matter how we're decorating or what we're serving on that table, it's the people that come together that really make the magic happen. And I think you've hit the nail on the head with that. And, I just say, welcome to the table. Welcome to the American Legion. This is what it's all about. This is our second service. This is camaraderie at its finest. And us as human beings being the best versions of ourselves and the best of each of the generations that have, since followed and will be. My shout out, I just wanted to, one more time, just give a quick thank you to Lieutenant B.R. Cum Laude Chinese Post 1291. I've never met such incredible people all in one place that have such a stakeholder and constant contribution to their community and uplifting folks during COVID. Their post was a pivotal, a critical location that was open during, the attacks 9/11 all the way up to present day. They are continuing to utilize their space and their time and their resources to uplift that community. And I'm just really proud that I get to meet people like that and be mentored by folks like that. And again, for them to share their excellent cuisine with us and be at that table, even though it was a different dish, it was a different conversation. We all came together for the unification of camaraderie and second service. So I thought it was really meaningful. So that's my Thanksgiving message to everybody. Give thanks and, thank you.
All right. So now that we're done with that and the recording is stopped, I'll go ahead and admit I'm thankful to you, Ashley. Wait, oh crap, we're still recording. You didn't hear anything, my friends. You heard nothing. So don't forget, even in this holiday season, I know you're busy, but don't forget to subscribe to the Tango Alpha Lima podcast on the YouTube, the Apple Podcast, the Spotify, or whatever you consume podcasts at. While you're there, don't forget to rate us, preferably with not 3 or 4 stars. That's for people that are mediocre. Reward us with 5 stars and be thankful. And leave us a review. You can send us feedback and love notes to Tango Alpha Lima at legion.org. For Ashley Marie Gorbuja Maldonado, super producer Holly, our missing comrade, the adjutant, Mark Seavey, and myself, National Judge Advocate. When I say adjutant, I gave him another promotion. He just our National Judge Advocate, Mark Seavey. I'm going to declare this Tango Alpha Lima Mission Episode 80 complete.